Good morning, everyone. Today is Thursday, May 27th, and we are going live here in Phoenix. Today, we're going to dive in. We're going to give you a full market update on what's going on. We're going to talk interest rates, jobs, unemployment, up-to-the-minute housing stats, and whether or not you should be looking to buy right now. So if that information is important to you, then stay tuned. What's up, everybody? It's Greg Corbett with the AZ Lifestyle Group right here in Phoenix, Arizona. If this is your first time to this channel and you're looking to find out everything you need to know about what it's like living in and or moving to the Phoenix metro area, make sure to hit that subscribe button and click the bell so you can be notified whenever we post a new video. And we are helping people from all over when it comes to finding the best places and neighborhoods to live here, and we absolutely love it. So if you're even thinking about making a move and you need any assistance whatsoever, give us a call, send us a text, shoot us an email. However you want to get a hold of us, we got your back when it comes to moving to the Phoenix metro. All right, let's go ahead and bring in my good friend and partner, Rudy with Prime Lending. Rudy, good morning, sir. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. We've taken a few weeks off of our weekly updates because it kind of felt like a broken record, but I want to get back in and really kind of dive into these full market updates. And really tell people what's going on. So I wanted to bring you back in. We can kind of talk through all the things that are happening and really break down the stats, because I think, there's a lot of important things that are going on right now to help guide people on whether or not they should be looking to move right now and whether or not they should be looking to buy anything right now.
Absolutely. And right now, it's never been more crucial to stay up to date on how the market is evolving, because it seems like every single day something new is happening, or the market is moving one way or the other, or even if it's staying its crazy self as it is right now, you need to know about it so that you're well equipped and that you have the right team on your side. So I think that giving people an insight on what's going on behind the scenes, or, we're foot on the ground, boots on the ground here in Phoenix. We want to make sure that everyone's aware of what's going on so that they're well prepared.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, we have a lot of people that are hanging on the sidelines right now. And, I'm kind of in that same camp, honestly. Like, for anybody who's been watching the channel a little bit, if you haven't, to give you a little heads up, my wife and I have been looking to try to find another home ourselves. We've been looking to try to find a second home in Flagstaff. We've been trying to do that for 6 months. We feel like even with the market accelerating, we're still trying to make that happen. We haven't been able to compete. And I think a lot of the people that we're working with are kind of in that same boat. And they're like, hey, I need to take a break and kind of let things settle. Otherwise, because I can't just do anything. And then obviously we have other people that are in the camp of, hey, as much as this isn't fun to go through, I need a house and I've got the means and the ability to do it. And I need to figure this out. And so I need you guys' help into how to make it as smooth and easy as possible. So we're trying to help out everybody in those categories.
Yeah. And I think the hardest part is the first step, or what you just mentioned, is I need your help, and I need to understand how I can become a competitive home buyer in this market. And I think that's the hardest step. And unfortunately, sometimes it takes losing out on 2, 3, 4 offers. And then at some point, you're either going to get discouraged, or you're going to understand what the market is like. And it's our job to not let you get discouraged and to be as informed as possible, because I would say that is probably the most difficult step to take, is the understanding of how this market is just like no other in the past, and just being able to understand how to go about it without pulling your hair out.
Yeah, that and making sure it is the right decision for you. I think I'm very proud of us as a team, because if we find that, if we talk to people and we hear their situation and it doesn't sound like it's probably the best move for them, we're going to tell you. So this is a situation where we're very upfront and honest about what's going on, what the situation is. And if we all can come to an agreement that you're like, hey, look, this is the time for me, let's make it happen. We're going to do everything we can in our power to make it happen for you. If it's not the right time because of this chaos, and you're like, hey, I'm not going to waive my appraisal contingency, I'm not going to waive my inspections, I'm not going to give away all my rights and pay more than I can afford, then we're going to help you take a step back as well and see how this all shakes out. So. I don't know. What do you want to get into first, Rudy? I think I'm trying to figure out what's the most important thing for people to know. I think we can bring up Cromford if we want to. Let's go ahead and do that, because I think always having these market stats is helpful. I'm going to bring up the daily snapshot right now, because that is super helpful as far as what's going on. So if we look at active listings right now, this is all the active listings. There's on the Arizona Regional MLS, there's total of 9224. Now that's including the under contract accepting backup. So excluding that, there's only 4,500 and there's 8,200 pending. So our pending listings are down, our listings under contract are down. We're starting to see a little bit less when it comes to that, but that's just a supply issue. And then let's go down to the market index. This keeps dropping a little bit. We've got it at 450 right now, versus it was at its peak probably around the 515 to 520 range.
And I think it's not surprising for a couple of reasons. One, people are obviously, like we just mentioned, they're feeling discouraged. They're getting priced out. They have to make, after looking at homes for a long period of time, they're maybe in a situation where they have to make a decision. Maybe they've been renting and now they have to renew their lease for another 6-12 months. So now they've put their home search on hold. And obviously with lack of that demand, you're going to start seeing that number trickle down a little bit. Rates also slightly inching up compared to where they were fourth quarter of 2020. Could have something to do with that as well. Not quite as much yet because they're still very low, but I'm not surprised that you're seeing demand slow down, even though it's still super hot. Like 450, that's like way above what is normal.
I do want to clarify something, because there's everything you look at, you hear people on the news say demand is crazy. Demand is not crazy. This has nothing to do with a high demand. Demand is actually in the kind of the moderate range. This like 90 to 110 range is the demand, which means it's not crazy demand. It is all about this supply issue. So we have little to no supply, and that's causing everybody to be in a frenzy to try to jump on the houses that hit the market. I mean, I'll show like something else that I think could be, let's see, let me bring this up here. This is actually all the active. So if we remove all the houses under contract and we look at the actives that are single family homes in Maricopa County, there's only 2,600. So, like it even can be a little bit misleading as far as seeing how many active, because you'll see the numbers. First you'll see 9,000, then you'll whittle it down to ones that are actually active and it's only 4,500, and then you actually get to Maricopa County, because if you actually armless, anybody can put stuff on armless, it's all over the place, but if you look at Metro Phoenix, which is Maricopa County, have 2,500 active listings, I mean, it's pretty minimal. So it's really giving people an idea on what's going on. So it's trying to figure out, are we seeing, now we have seen a little bit of supply increase. And when I say little, I mean a little bit, but is there going to be a massive increase in that coming up in the future? I'm not seeing any signs of that. Rudy, I know you had talked about this before we jumped on, as far as there's still people talking about the foreclosure market and when people come off forbearance, and if that's going to see anything. What are you seeing on that side?
Yeah, there's no signs that there's this massive pent up forbearance clients or folks that are in forbearance that are now all of a sudden get foreclosed on. There's no signs of that. There is going to be, obviously, once people are done with their forbearance plans, that are going to be in a tough situation where they might have to figure something out that's not so great. But the forbearance numbers are starting to drop every single month, every week. They're starting to drop, and more people are going back to work. More and more people are more comfortable being out, and more people are going back into the office. So what I'm curious about is once the economy opens up, and I read an interesting article about it this morning. Once the economy opens up, what's going to happen to all these people that moved out to the suburbs and expected to possibly work remotely for the rest of their lives or for
Yeah.
a long time, and now their companies are telling them, you know what, we want you guys back in the office. You're not going to work remotely, or maybe not as much as you thought you were. What's going to happen to all those folks and all those houses that spiked because of the huge demand out in the suburbs? That's what I'm really curious about. The forbearance numbers, they keep getting better and better. So, and on top of that, everyone who's I'm sorry, not everyone, but most people that are in that are homeowners currently, even if they have some form of forbearance program in place, probably have a reasonable amount of equity in their home where they don't have to get foreclosed on. And I saw an article this morning about foreclosure rates here, and they're extremely low. They're actually below the national average in Phoenix. The foreclosure rates are very, very low, and that's because a lot of people have a ton of equity because we're growing so much as an economy here, and the housing market is just going gangbusters. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of this year plays out. I can't believe we're almost halfway through the year, and to see what happens going into December and the end of the year on what all this comes out.
Yeah, I'll have to bring this up. I'm trying to bring it up right now, but it's not allowing me to put it on the screen. But the pre-foreclosures, the notice of trustee sales in Maricopa County, I think this slide is super helpful that the Cromford report provided. As of, what year to date in 2021, there have been only 159 total trustee sales. That's, I mean, versus like back in 2009, there was over 100,000. So we're now a lot of factors are going into that. I guess as far as like obviously people have been preventing from that, but when you look at the stats as far as people actually being in pre-foreclosure and the people coming out of forbearance, the stats basically say that the majority of them are either paid up. Or they have already made an agreement with the bank. There's only a small percentage, probably 15 to 25%, that are actually in a potential situation where they would need to move out or foreclose.
And we're also seeing a huge or a spike in investors purchasing homes on the market, that are competing against just families and regular folks. So investors are also scooping up a lot of houses, which tells me that they are also not sitting around waiting for all these supposed foreclosures that are going to be coming down the pike and just kind of sitting on their hands for all this to happen, because they're not. They're buying houses right now too. So
right.
If the investors were sitting back and you saw less and less investors purchasing homes, then you could have some sort of thought as to maybe do they know something we don't, but that's not the case. They're actually out there paying cash. They're out there, paying above. So they're in this market just as much as we are.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I want to talk some positives too, because I want to a lot of the reason why people are coming out here, they're paying so much to get into houses. A lot of it is like we're in really good shape when it comes to like COVID numbers. We're in very good shape when it comes to our unemployment numbers going down. I think we've recovered quite a bit. We still have, I think, our state has extended the unemployment benefit up until about July 10th. Where other states are maybe cutting theirs off here in June. So we still have certain people that are still on the unemployment benefit that have not gone back to work. We have companies that are trying to hire people. But the businesses are open and they're thriving. People are going there. People are spending money. And we have a lot of new jobs coming up. We've got new businesses here that are being created and or starting, and then we've got businesses coming in from out of state. So the job market is great. And so that I think is a very good positive and a very good sign for everything going on in Arizona, and a very good sign for people that are looking to move here as well.
Yeah, the job market is one of the best in the countries. It's there in the top. The relative cost of living compared to other parts of the country is still much more affordable to live here than other parts of the country. The economy is picking back up. The quality of life, the weather is just, the summers are obviously are hot, but just quality of life with the amount of activities that you could do and all the places that you could go to close to Phoenix in the Arizona area that are just, it's a very unique place to live for so many reasons. It's the reason why, Greg, you and I talk to so many people that want to move here on a weekly basis. And it's just a matter of putting together the right game plan on finding a house. But a lot of the boxes that you're looking for on places to live are checked when it comes to considering Phoenix.
Rudy, one of the other things I've been seeing lately, if when it comes to some of the stuff we're seeing right now, and also just talking to other agents that we're working with, there has been certain people that are seeing a little bit of slowdown when it comes to open house traffic, when it comes to not having multiple offers, people maybe not needing to go way over list. That is in certain areas, probably certain price points. So I'm not going to give anybody a full indication of like, hey, things are slowing down. That's not the case. But there are certain situations where you can actually get to a house and it's not going to be multiple offers all over the place. So are you hearing the same thing that I'm hearing when it comes to that?
It depends, like you said, on the price point. If you're looking to buy a house in the, I don't know, 400 to 500 range here, it's going to be extremely competitive, and even some of the more luxury homes are extremely competitive. I think, you know, um, I haven't really seen as much of a slowdown as maybe others have. A lot of our clients are having to come in very strong with their offer, and most are winning, some are not. So I haven't yet encountered a client that is not going into an extremely competitive situation, and it could be just because the houses that my clients are looking at are very desirable houses, right?
Sure. Yep.
If a house needs a little bit of work, obviously that one is gonna, not maybe get as much traction as some of the others. And then we can talk about renovation loan. That could be another strategy if someone is trying to get into the market and they keep getting outbid, maybe going and looking at homes that need a little bit of work, and doing a renovation loan could possibly get you in a little bit faster. But I'm not seeing a slowdown right now. I'm still seeing a lot of clients still having to come in with very, very strong offers in order to win.
Well, and I think a lot of people are looking at the new stuff constantly hitting the market, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I think there might be an opportunity for people to be like, hey, let's maybe look at something that's been sitting over a week.
Mhm.
Doesn't mean it's going to be still available. Don't get me wrong, but like if you kind of start narrowing down and like maybe hitting up properties that maybe either aren't as desirable for the majority of the people, or maybe were priced a little higher in the beginning and now they're not getting as much traction. There might be some opportunity there where you can come in and not have to compete and potentially come in with a lot lower price than you would if you were having to compete with 10, 20, 30, 40, however many other buyers.
That's actually a really, really good point, because it's no surprise, it's no secret that a lot of sellers right now are a little overzealous on how much they want to get for their house, to no blame. Like I don't
Yep.
blame anybody for wanting to make money. So, you bring up a very good point. There might be some homes out there that are a little bit overpriced that you could possibly come in and be a little bit more competitive and not have to give away the farm.
Yeah, that's definitely something that most people should consider if they're having a tough time right now. Definitely talk to us about that if you think maybe there's an opportunity there, because we can maybe find a property that might have slipped through the cracks that could be a
Mhm.
good fit for you. So definitely bring those up. Talk to us about that, and we can kind of guide you in a good direction there.
Yeah, and when it comes to the loan too, getting your loan pre-underwritten to where you're almost as good as cash. What I mean by that is that you don't have to your file's already approved by an underwriter. When you're writing an offer, there's an appraisal contingency, there's an inspection contingency, there's a financing contingency. So, if you can take care of that financing contingency where you can, with confidence, tell the listing agent and the sellers that you're already approved, all you need to do is find a house and you're good to go, then that could make your offer, that will make your offer a lot more attractive than other folks. So, that's another way that you could stand out from the crowd, because you're just taking that extra step as a buyer, as a buyer, to get your loan approved, to make yourself more attractive, and possibly waiving that financing contingency if you want to. That could help you win that offer. So
Yeah.
And then also, if you're putting at least 10% down, I can also work some strategies to where if you need to go above the asking price of a house, which 50% of houses now are going above the asking price. If you need to go above and you're putting at least 10% down, we can work with the down payment numbers, and I can work with some other factors in your loan to where you're not going to have to come out of pocket so much. You can still go over, even if it appraises for less, and your cash to close can still be somewhere in the same ballpark as you had originally intended. So it's all about strategies in this market, and it's all about being with the right team to help you with those strategies.
Let's talk interest rates a little bit, because I keep hearing that they trickled back down. Is that accurate? Or are we getting a bunch of false information regarding that to try to get people doing either buying or refining, that type of thing?
Yeah, they did trickle back down the last couple of weeks. And whenever you see an actual interest rate, a number tied to an article or to an advertisement, there's always a lot of stuff behind that number. Most importantly, what you should realize is that all those numbers, for the most part, include paying points, include paying a discount point, which is just an extra fee that you would pay to get a lower interest rate. So yes, they've gone down, and the rates are still in the low threes without paying any points. If you wanted to pay some points, then you can get right around 3 or even a little bit below if you need to. So yes, they have trickled down, and a lot of experts are expecting rates to continue in this same pattern. And then in the fourth quarter of this year is when they expect them to go up, maybe about a quarter point to 0.3%, somewhere around there, higher than where they are now. So, still historically low rates. It's not going to go up to 5%, which is the national average for the last 20 years. That was the average.
Sure.
If you go back, but they're still very competitive.
Okay. No, I think it's helpful to know, just because, for anybody who is worried about, hey, the interest rates are starting to go up, I might be priced out because of that now, because I can't afford not only the extra over list price, but also the extra on the interest rate. So at least for the people that are on the verge of not being able to buy, that will help.
Well, two things that are going to push rates up that are inevitable is inflation and employment. So the more people going in back to work, the more the economy starts improving, the more people start spending, equates to more inflation. The government spending as well, with the stimulus plans and some of the other plans that are bills that are being proposed. There's a lot of government spending, which is also going to increase inflation. So there's no doubt that rates are obviously going to go up. It's just a matter of when. So if you have the means and you have the strategy and you have the confidence now to go ahead and buy a house now, then it is the best time, because I know in the Phoenix area, they're projecting home prices to go up another double digits in the next 12 months. So that $500,000 house could be costing you $550,000 in 12 months, which is ridiculous. But that's just the reality of where we are today.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about, honestly, because we've seen, just looking back, and I want to click back at the numbers here when it comes to what home prices have gone up over the past year. And let me bring this. That's a house that was made fun of on Instagram. So the average price on monthly sales is now $510. With that, obviously, looking at last year, at the same time, 350 versus 510. I mean,
Yeah.
160K difference on the median price, um, and then or excuse me, on the average, and then the median price is now 385 versus 291. The numbers are still a little hard for a lot of people to grasp, and including like me. I still have a tough time, and it's trying to figure out like how to guide people. But the bottom line is we are seeing the stats constantly. We're looking at the stats daily, and we're trying to give or trying to see if there's any indication of this slowing down, and it just doesn't seem like there's going to be any slowdown. So you are still on the right side. If you can make a purchase, everything still tells us that things are still going to go up. And if you're waiting on the sideline, I totally get it, because I've had to do it myself. And it's unfortunate. It's one of those things where some of us might just be priced out when it comes to certain types of things. I just don't know. It just seems crazy to me that it's going to continue to go up too high. But life is weird sometimes.
Yeah, it's eventually going to slow down. It has to. Like, you can't have people bidding 20, 30, 50 grand, 20, 30, 50 grand, 20, 30, like that just can't happen. Like, there's just not going to be, it's just mathematically can't continue that way. But
what's going to cause it to stop, Rudy? What's going to cause it to stop? Because that's what we're trying to figure out. Like, we're looking at stats. People keep moving here. Obviously the demand's going to keep going down because more people aren't going to be around to be able to buy. So there's going to be a more limited supply of buyers, but there's also going to be a very limited supply of homes. So we're going to get a bunch of people to stay in their home because they can't afford to move. And so I'm just trying to figure out what's going to cause the finally where people coming in that have the money to do this stop.
Well, I think one of them is going to be builders. Their cost of building a home has to get back on track. What used to cost builders, to build 10 houses, now they can build 2 for the same price. So they have to get back to where they were prior to lumber prices being where they are, prior to land being as expensive as it is, prior to labor shortages. It's hard to find good labor, and they have to pay extra for finding good labor. I think once builders can get back into more of a balanced market, and they can start building houses on a more regular basis to try to catch up to that demand. And it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to be years. The population is growing at a faster rate than houses are being built. So it's not going to happen next year. It might not happen for another 4 or 5 years, but eventually it's going to slow down. And I think builders are going to be a key piece in that. There's been talks about some bills proposed at helping first-time home buyers with down payment, or some of the closing costs, more of down payment by the administration that's in office right now. And I think that unfortunately is going to exacerbate the problem. It's going to make more people come out and want to purchase homes in a time where we need to help supply, not necessarily help demand. And I think if there's some sort of way that the government can help builders, maybe incentivize them to build more affordable housing, or to incentivize them in some form of way to help that increase that supply, I think that's going to be key. But I think that's going to be one start on getting the supply back on track. But it's going to take a long time, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, all signs point to it. It's just kind of constantly having that situation where, like, how does this continue to happen? But it continues to happen. So it's we'll all see. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out for sure.
And then rates are going to continue going up too. So in a year or 2 years, as rates get higher, less and less people can afford a certain price of homes, and so that's going to also slow down some of the demand a little bit. And then, depending on how the economy recovers from COVID, you might have people that need to sit on the sidelines because their financial situation isn't quite as good as it was, or, they just need to take a step back. So a lot of moving parts for sure, but it can't. One thing I think we can all agree on is that it cannot continue at this rate. It just is mathematically impossible.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I don't see, for everybody, because again, everybody online, when you're looking at comments for people who are like, hey, this is crazy, you guys are crazy, and talking about everybody who's coming in, they're like, wait till the crash comes. Mm-hmm. There's no crash coming. Like, there's no crash. Like, they would take, like, if you're talking like something market wise, I just don't, I don't know. I say that and then I'm like, okay, knock on wood, because it's like, okay, any weird thing can happen, but yeah.
Well, if we're looking at history to try to predict a crash, then let's look at the most recent one in 08, 09, and 10. Is that there was a oversupply of building. Like, these builders were building more and more houses because they were speculating that the prices would just never stop, and that's not what's happening right now. There's actually the opposite of what's happening right now. So when they were selling all these houses to people who thought they were sitting on a gold mine, and then the market crashed, then there's an abundance of homes that were now vacant and available that caused the housing prices to crash. And that's not at all what's happening now. I couldn't even imagine what it would take for the housing market to crash at this moment. I just can't even think of a situation that's not catastrophic to the world that could cause it to crash. So it's the lack of supply, that's going to continue driving these prices up. But then eventually people are going to be priced out. Like, we sound like a broken record, but eventually people just can't buy. So it's going to slow down for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead of growing at 15% year over year, it might grow at 5%. I mean, heaven forbid that your price only increases by 5% in a normal market, and not 15.
Yeah, no, it's it'll be interesting to see. I think Phoenix keeps leading the way. The Arizona market keeps leading the way. We're up there with so many other markets that are going through some of these same challenges and issues that are seeing these increases all over the board. And so we're not the only ones going through it. We're just kind of at the top of the list when it comes to seeing these type of increases and going through some of the challenges. But at some point, like Rudy said, it's going to have to slow down a little bit. And so we're going to keep you guys posted on that. For those of you who are looking to try to figure out whether it's the right fit for you, please reach out to us. We'll take you in depth as far as what you're looking for, what your expectations are, whether or not it makes sense for you to do. Some of you it will, some of you it won't, but we're going to try to help guide you in the right direction when it comes to that. Rudy, any final thoughts before we let everybody go?
No, I mean, we're getting ready to get into the heart of the summertime here, so we'll see how this year pans out. Last year, I was hoping to get a little bit of rain or some monsoon action, and that did not happen. So maybe this time it will.
Yeah, we're going to see the end of the end of May is bringing us triple digit highs to end the month, and typically once we hit June, nothing below 100 as far as a high goes. So we're gonna have 100 plus temps from June probably through at least September into October. But it still doesn't feel too bad right now. Right now it still feels nice. We're still getting those lows in the mid 60s, which is amazing. But when the lows get into the 90s, maybe it's not going to be as fun.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that if it's 105, you're like, okay, well, we got a little bit of a break. If it's anything below 110, no big deal. We can take care of that. That's not a problem. Give me a cold beverage so I can enjoy this weather.
That's right. All right, Rudy. Well, we'll let everybody go. That's a lot of information to take in. Again, for those of you who have any questions, reach out to us anytime. We're here to help you. And until the next video, we'll catch you guys later.